For me, traveling east doesn't officially start till you hit Cabazon. So here I am, starting my journey on my 60th birthday. Travel with me, enjoy the sights, and Arizona, thank you for your fuel prices. Quartzsite, Arizona is pretty famous for their Bureau of Land Management areas where snowbirds can camp for free. Fortunately, I didn't take advantage of it because the temperatures were over 112 degrees. Lucky for me, the L Factor sister lived in the area. So she hooked me up. I spent the night in nice air conditioning, and she took me out for my birthday. Thank you, Mare. Arcosanti is an experimental town with a molten bronze bell casting business in central Arizona, about 70 miles north of Phoenix. Its concept was proposed by the Italian-American architect Paolo Solari. He began construction in 1970 to demonstrate how urban conditions could be improved while minimizing the destructive impact on the earth. Saguaro National Park was very interesting. Up around the hills on both sides as you drive through the canyon, it looks like an army of cactus ready to attack you. Thank gosh I was not there during the night. It would have been very spooky. Arizona is well known for its graveyards or storage areas of aircraft. There's 3 huge locations. This one here in particular, I could drive around and get a little peek. Very interesting. What's a trip to Arizona without visiting Tombstone? That little town was pretty amazing. Unfortunately, due to the beer virus, most everything was closed. Not a whole lot of visitors or people there. But nevertheless, it was a great sight to see. Walking up and down the streets, checking out all the crazy signs, the cemetery, and the stagecoach that took a handful of people up and down the street. It was a great stop. I'm glad I went. I always wondered where that pizza came from, and now I know. Tourist trap. Yeah, no. Towering above I-10 on a hillside at the Scenic View Rest Area in Las Cruces, New Mexico is a 20-foot tall, 40-foot wide, recycled Roadrunner statue made from discarded materials. White Sands National Monument, now known as White Sands National Park as of 2020, is located in New Mexico and is completely surrounded by the White Sands Missile Range. As you drive into the park, you start to see white sands mixed with the desert scrub. Once you go over a hill, you see nothing but sands and dunes. It almost looks like snow. It even crunches like snow when you walk on it. The park covers over 145,000 acres. The field of white sand dunes is composed of gypsum crystals. The gypsum dune field is the largest of its kind on Earth, with a depth of about 30 feet, and the dunes are as tall as 60 feet and about 4.5 billion short tons of gypsum sand. Approximately 12,000 years ago, the land within the basin featured large lakes, streams, grasslands, and ice age animals. As the climate warmed, rain and snow melt dissolved gypsum from the surrounding mountains and carried it into the basin. Further warming and drying caused the lakes to evaporate and form sealite crystals. Strong winds then broke up the crystals and transported them eastward. A similar process continues to produce gypsum sand today. This picnic area also has a trailhead for hiking. Quite strange though, as I walked up on top of the dunes and looked, for as far as you can see is just white sands. Not sure where people are hiking to. They must be just enjoying the wildlife. Driving from White Sands National Park towards Carlsbad Caverns, I used the county and state roads. What an experience. I had no idea the mountainous terrain that New Mexico had and how beautiful that drive was. A must-do on everyone's bucket list. Once you reach the Carlsbad Caverns Park entrance, it's a few miles drive up a windy road to the top. The visitor center is a little, I don't know, unremarkable, shall we say, until you get inside. This diorama of the caverns is amazing. And yes, I hiked it all. The entrance to the cavern is just a big hole. And yes, lots of bats and birds. 17 species of bats live in the park, including many Mexican free-tailed bats. It has been estimated that the population of the Mexican free-tailed bats once numbered in the millions, but has been on a steady decline in modern times. As you walk down the path deep into the caverns, you look back once in a while and you can still get glimpses of sunlight until there isn't, and it's pitch black. Absolutely amazing and beautiful. Carlsbad Caverns National Park is in the Guadalupe Mountains of southeastern New Mexico. The primary attraction of the park is the Snow Cave, aka Carlsbad Cavern. Visitors to the cave can hike on their own via a natural entrance or take an elevator from the visitor center. I hiked in and took the elevator out. Total time that I was in the caverns was just about 2.5 hours. Growths from the roof downward are known as stalactites. Growths from the floor upward are known as stalagmites. Different formations include columns, soda straws, draperies, and popcorn. Changes in the ambient air temperature and rainfall affect the rate of growth. As higher temperatures increase carbon dioxide production rates within the overlying soil. The colors are determined by the trace of constellates in the minerals of the formations. One of the highlights of Carlsbad Caverns includes a large limestone chamber named simply the Big Room, which is almost 4,000 feet long, 625 feet wide, and 255 feet at its highest point. The Big Room is the largest chamber in North America and the 31st largest in the world. When stalactites and stalagmites meet, or when stalactites reach the floor of a cave, they are called stalagnate. This original rope ladder used by early Carlsbad Cavern researchers dates back to 1924. This is the bottomless pit. This is the first time I wished I had a better camera. The colors were so much more amazing in person. They did not allow flash photography, so I did the best that I could. You would have to visit to truly be able to understand the beauty of the caverns. The Gerald D. Hines Waterwall Park, formerly the Williams Waterwall and Transco Waterwall, is a multi-story fountain that sits opposite the south face of Williams Tower in the Uptown District of Houston. The fountain and its surrounding park were built as an architectural amenity to the adjacent tower. Originally privately owned in common with the office tower, the water wall and the surrounding land were purchased by the Uptown Houston Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone, a non-profit local government corporation, in 2008. This to ensure the long-term preservation of the water wall and park. Completed in 1985, the water wall stands 64 feet tall and sits among 118 Texas live oak trees in the park. It takes 3 hours and 2 minutes for the water to completely recycle. Yeah, I tried that. Made me super dizzy, almost fell down, and the video footage was horrible. Houstonian John Milokovich worked through the late 1960s to transform his Houston home into the beer can house. It's covered with flattened beer cans, bottle caps, bottles, and other beer items. The house is estimated to include over 50,000 beer cans. The final result was a yard with no grass. When asked why he did it, he simply answered, "I got sick of mowing the lawn." The Fred Hartman Bridge is a cable-stay bridge spanning the Houston Ship Channel. The bridge carries 2.6 miles of State Highway 146 between the cities of Baytown and LaPorte. On a chilly April afternoon in 1836, this strip of coastal prairie rang with the boom of cannon, crack of musket fire, and shouts of "Remember the Alamo." Despite being outnumbered, General Sam Houston's army of settlers and foreign volunteers decisively defeated General Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna's forces and won Texas independence. Today, the 1,300-acre site, San Jacinto Museum of History, and the 567-foot-tall San Jacinto Monument celebrate their sacrifice and victory. The USS Texas BB-35 is a museum ship and former U.S. Navy New York-class battleship. She was commissioned on March 12, 1914. Texas saw action in the Mexican waters following the Tampico incident and made numerous sorties in the North Sea during World War I. In World War II, Texas escorted war convoys across the Atlantic and later shelled Axis-held beaches for the North African Campaign and the Normandy landings before she was transferred to the Pacific Theater. In 1944, she provided naval gunfire support during the Battle of Iwo Jima and Okinawa. For the past few years, she has been closed to the public due to maintenance issues, but spring of 22, she'll be towed to Galveston for a multi-million-dollar refit. Guess I'll have to travel back once she's open and ready to receive guests. Thanks for watching and coming along for the journey. Stay tuned for part 2, where I continue my East Coast trip. Love you, Mom.